Hour 18, which is where we are introduced to the Oedipus at Kolōnos of Sophocles, may seem to you at first to be out of order. Why am I looking at Oedipus at Kolōnos first, and then and only then look at Oedipus Tyrannus second? And my rationale is this. I can say it very simply. When you read the Oedipus at Kolōnos, you get a very good idea of this hero as a cult hero in the making. Later on, when you read the Oedipus Tyrannus, which was a drama that Sophocles composed in an earlier period of his artistic creativity, you're seeing an earlier stage of Oedipus where his status as cult hero is not clear and really does not become clear until the very end of the drama. So I find it useful for us to go out of sequence and to look at the Oedipus at Kolōnos first. You will see that here the characteristics of a cult hero are most clearly spelled out. If you look at all the dramas of Sophocles, I would pick this one as the most representative of what ancient Greeks really thought about cult heroes, especially in the city-state of Athens. Even the way Oedipus, who in the story is not an Athenian, even the way he approaches Athens and this one piece of real estate in Athens, which is so holy, so sacred, that is the grove of Colonus, even the way that happens is almost like an introduction to what it is like to think of a cult hero in a specific local setting. When Oedipus the stranger comes in and says, "Would you tell me where I am? And I think I've heard about you, but tell me more." The local population tell Oedipus in a very, very concise way, and one that is almost like a textbook definition of what a sacred space for a cult hero should be and should look like. Even the name, Kolōnos, which is the setting for what's going to happen to Oedipus as he transforms from a wretched foreigner who has had a very questionable moral history to a cult hero in a place that is not native to him. Even the way that place is signaled and marked is typical of cult heroes. The word itself, Kolōnos, which we treat as a name in the title, Oedipus at Kolōnos, is already deeply significant. It is already a marker for the status of a cult hero. And if you want to see an exercise in sheer beauty, in expressing the beauty of a place where a cult hero is worshipped, do read very carefully our 18 text C, where in the voice of the chorus, the song and dance ensemble, there is a beautiful description of the place which is known as Kolōnos. And pretty soon we realize that the sentimental attachment that the words seem to betray have something to do with Sophocles himself. I don't want to give it away completely, but we might as well say it now. Sophocles considers Kolōnos the place of his birth. That's where he was born. He is the native son of Kolōnos, and this is where the hero, Oedipus, will plant his own body as a talisman of fertility and prosperity for those who will worship him as a cult hero. But you can't help but thinking also of Sophocles himself and how there is some degree of projection in the way this native land of Sophocles, Sophocles' Mother Earth, is described so beautifully. In our 18, text D, we read the sheer mystery of what it was like for Sophocles' Oedipus to become a cult hero at Kolōnos. It's something that can be pictured up to a point, and then you really shouldn't picture it beyond that point because it's a mystery. It's a mystery that requires restricted visualization, restricted verbalization. But those restrictions can still be beautifully expressed, and there's still enough of the sacred reality that is clearly at work for not just Oedipus, but for Sophocles, the author himself, that we really sit up and take notice when we read the words of the mysterious engulfment of the cult hero Oedipus by the loving Mother Earth. In our 18, text I, the wording becomes even more evocative concerning how we are to imagine the transformation of Oedipus from a hero in the heroic age to a cult hero in the post-heroic age. What you see in the various wordings here, was it this way, was it that way, corresponds to what we've already read in many other situations as scenarios for the immortalization of the hero after death. There can be a variety of ways of imagining this immortalization. And here, in this passage, so many of these different ways of visualization come together. Some are entertained as possibilities for the way Oedipus met his death. Others are dismissed, but not really dismissed. The language is, again, very mysterious, but very precise at the same time, and a great learning experience for us as we try to delve into the language that is specific to the idea of the immortalization of the cult hero after death.